right, guys, let's play some more Magic the Gathering. The Legacy format, we all love it. Now let's get into what I have brought to the table today. This is going to be a Tamiyo version of Show and Tell. It's going to be a deck that is trying to cast Show and Tell into Atraxa or Omniscience. From there, we want to draw, our deck with Atraxa, cast Stock Up, cast Lore Unrevealed. Hopefully, we end up finding Emrakul in the end. But, usually this plan with Atraxa is going to be good enough. In the meantime, we're trying to keep our opponents busy with Tamiyo. We're trying to say no with Thoughtseize, Daze, and Force of Will. We're trying to cast the usual cantrips. We are an Ancient Tomb deck. And then for the sideboard, we have Barrowgoyfs, a kind of a tried and tested strategy for plan Bs. Cards that beat Show and Tell don't beat Barrowgoyf and stuff like that. We are playing a place of fatal pushes between the main and the side. Some standard stuff, handling the graveyard, handling opposing combo decks, playing against colorless decks, and then we have a couple of Brazens for, annoying stuff like Chalice, annoying stuff like Ensnaring Bridge. Just trying to hedge our bets a little bit here. What I'm the most sad about is I can't really seem to support Murktide Regent. It is very possible I could play like one Murktide over a Daze for science. Actually, do you know what? Let's try that while we're here. But it's not the best Murktide deck. The Swamp is always going to be there, but, Ancient Tomb and all of that. So, all right. We had one copy of Murktide Regent to the deck. But yeah, that's usually my one-card combo, as I call it. But yeah, I think this deck looks quite cool. And I'm a little bit scared about tapping my Ancient Tomb and getting punished for that. Tap your Ancient Tomb, get my Show and Tell countered. Then, I'm kind of left there. I'm a Thoughtseize deck to begin with. So yeah, I'm going to keep an eye out for the life loss. And yeah, let's see how it goes. All right. Round one. Opponents on the mulligan. I'm on the draw. Yeah, of course, we're going to keep this hand. So basically, this hand is weak to getting run over. So imagine they play a good creature turn one. I Thoughtseize. I'm a little bit on the back foot. But in general, I like this a lot. I have 3 mana sources. Also, let's see how many Surveil lands I'm running. Looks like just a single. Okay, so no Pinnacle Emissary opener from the opponent, but they have that card. Oh, yeah, that's brutal. That is brutal because now the opponent will have their quote-unquote Dark Confidant, so I have like a small window I'm working within. Now, should I? So the thing is, this Thoughtseize probably needs to clear a Force of Will at some point. So basically, the sooner I fire it off, the fewer cards I'm going to see. Oh, I draw my own Force. Okay. So now we can treat the Force as my, Force catcher for them, and then we can play this Bauble as, I'm sorry, this Thoughtseize as, something to stifle their development. Okay. Because this is probably going to be like a turn 4, and Kappa Cannoneer is a card I'm firmly losing to, even with, so I need Omniscience is what I'm trying to say. If I can avoid it, I would love to keep this Lore Unrevealed around, because that's like an Omniscience juice card. All right, here's one of the sagas. The opponent can now play Automaton. I feel like that's a card that Dazing will buy enough time against, but I'm actually not sure about that because, then the opponent just gets Saga going. Maybe that's okay. Maybe that's okay. I'm not 100% sure. I guess if I natural draw the Emrakul, Atraxa, or Omniscience, I'm fine. But yeah, this is going to get dicey. I feel if I was playing first this game, I would be loving life. But right now, I think I'm an underdog to win this game. Okay, the opponent's grinding a little bit here. Replay Bauble. Yeah, dazing that card was... Oh, replay box. Never mind. Okay. Tamiyo. That could be a solid card. Sure. Let's cast Tamiyo. I think if that card blocks a construct, that's kind of what it's going to do. If I draw land, I can crack my clue next turn. Otherwise, I might have to use this as my mana source. So next turn I can go cycle Lauren Revealed, play tapped Sewers, get a few more looks at Glory. Or I could simply use my Bloodstained Mire for that. Let's see. Trying to find a spot here. Also, my opponent doesn't know I'm show and tell. That's a little bit of relevant detail here. Let's say the opponent plays Kappa Cannoneer this turn. They don't, but I probably would have pitched Lauren Reveal, trusted my draw step to come up with land number 3. But yeah, this is tough. Also, I'm not sure if they play the trample equipment in the main deck. So lots of stuff going on here. I also didn't do the math whether this Tamiyo block is going to help me or not. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm in Undercity Sewers mode here. And probably I'm just one turn slower than I was hoping for. Let's see if we can get lucky. That is not a lucky draw. Pass. Because I'm going to block now, or what's the point? Yeah, I think I'm blocking. Then there would be a turn of taking all the damage. Yeah, this is probably not good enough. I think I'm off by a turn here. So playing out this Tamiyo didn't do anything. Dazing that Patchwork. So if I had Tamiyo at the time, I could have let Patchwork resolve and then chum block later, but I didn't, so it was just super complicated. And I don't think I did. I think I was supposed to let that resolve because this turn I was supposed to cast Stock Up. So either trust my deck to find Omniscience or Atraxa in the meantime, or draw Tamiyo for a chump block. And then, because now I'm kind of one turn behind because of that daze. So I think I was basically, I was buying time on the Automaton, but I should have trusted my deck in the meantime. Here comes the double attack, and then I'm going to die to those guys next turn anyway. So this jump block doesn't even matter at this point. I guess if I do the same next turn, it will. So the opponent can replay. Oh yeah, this is unfortunately going to hurt. I'm going to take 7 here. Yeah. I'm going to take 7. I'm going to take 8, sorry. All right, block over here. Yeah, life is very tough. It's easily dying next turn. Another stock up. I feel like I should just concede here because the opponent will, yeah, the opponent will kill me. I'm very sad I milled over the Ancient Tomb. Okay, we have a lot of good cards here, so let's see the bad cards. Daze is a bad card. Fatal Push is so-and-so. I like at least these 6. So this is all about resolving the card's show and tell. Maybe I don't like Consign. Maybe I don't like Consign, yeah. That's probably a card that can go. Fatal Push is good against exactly Emery. 3 mana to kill. Automaton is unexciting, so maybe play into my own strength here. I think this is okay. Yeah, scary matchup. Affinity always a deck that I talk highly about on this channel. And it's surely been cooking me lately. I've also had a good run with Affinity. I just think it's a very good deck. It's annoying to play against. So I can flip Tamiyo turn 2. I should probably do that. That's pretty good against Affinity because of their openers. Emissary openers. Okay. So can the opponent get a Patchwork to 5? I'll counter this one to try and get a little bit more breathing room. Let's see if the opponent has stuff to do afterwards. They obviously have some zeros. They're trying to figure out what to do with them. Okay, so they're going to save Omniscience. Could be a terrible card. Could be a good card. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cast the Ponder before making the Ancient Tomb land drop. That's just solid sequencing, right? Here's Ponder, desperately looking for the card Show and Tell. There's Show and Tell and a Force. Well, let's get both. So now flipping Tamiyo is pretty solid. What Tamiyo can do is go bring back a blue card for next turn in case I want Omniscience. But I know I'm drawing a bad card. So let's see. If I were to force right now, what would I pitch? Like, let's say I need to force this turn. What would I be pitching? It's probably pitch Omniscience because I have a few more hits. Yeah, that's the logic. With that said, I'm hoping for a little bit of breathing room here, or a little bit of Tamiyo taking the heat, so that I can find a Show and Tell Omniscience line at some point. I wouldn't be embarrassed to bring back Imri. The card is so good. I was so about to say I wouldn't be embarrassed to bring back a blue card next turn. Yeah, I think I have to let this happen because this game is like... It's about forcing one force, probably, hopefully. So now they learn about force, so let's just remember that. Do I know about Force of Will? That's fine. I know I'm drawing a brick. Is this a time to bring back Ponder? Or is this a time to go to 6 with this card? The opponent has a Automaton from the yard to replay. But let's see, if I bring that back and I find... So maybe I'm supposed to bring that back, play land, get ready to surveil. This is my force pitch at the moment. Or wait a minute, what if I just bring it back, cast Show and Tell Omniscience? Let's see, what kind of answer cards would they have for Omniscience? Sink into Stupor is the answer to that question. So that means, yeah, if they have that card, I'm kind of cooked. Magic is a hard game. So maybe plus the Tamiyo play land. No, I think I messed up here. Well, maybe not. Was I supposed to just cast Omniscience here and get forced? I mean, cast Show and Tell here and get forced, and then just pick back the Show and pick up the Show and Tell? Yeah. No, that's bad against Force and Negation. Okay. I think I'm playing this right. But Magic is surely a hard game. Because right now, I want to look like somebody who's trying to ride the Tamiyo. And then in actuality, I'm gonna Show and Tell Omniscience. Okay, Magic's hard. That's what we like about it. I think next turn's my go time. If this player is either playing my list or Well, yeah, now it's exactly go time next turn. If this player is playing my list, there's going to be 8 forces and 4 disruptor flutes, which favors my opponent in a longer game. So the fact that I play out this card makes it almost impossible to have double force. Otherwise, it's a really unexciting play. So this could be the opponent having the haste equipment with the way they're playing here, because they were prioritizing the first counter over a 1/1. Haste equipment would be very annoying. Please don't do that, opponent. Don't do it. Pass. This is a good enough turn, buddy. Okay, so another emissary. And I can't do anything about this. I guess this is the perfect time to surveil. Because let's say I have a redundant copy of Show and Tell or Missions on top, then I can, you know, consider forcing. Huh, that card is cool. Funnily enough, it's buying a lot of time. Barrowgoyf. Yeah, that card handles the patchwork quite nicely. Okay, no more plays from the opponent here. I like it. One of those boys are gone. Draw the Barrowgoyf. So now I know I'm going to be resolving Omniscience, because they only have one card. So what if I cast Show and Tell Omniscience? Get back Ponder. I think I should do that. Should I play land and save life? I guess I should. Show and Tell. Let's see. Show and Tell Omniscience. The opponent's last card was a land. All right. Let's get back the Ponder. Let's see what we can find. Cast Ponder. Into a stock up. Stock up seeing 3 new cards. That's better than nothing. Stock up. Okay, this sucks. Back to the drawing board we go. Blue card or land? Probably just blue card. Any order. Barrowgoyf. Barrowgoyf. Next turn we can return stock up and keep going. Pass. Pretty cool game. So now the opponent has no... Oh, never mind. These flying boys are working now because I minus the Tamiyo. Okay, we have a game here. We have a game. So if those 3 attack alone, I'm playing from the top. The opponent has Bobble in rotation, which is very bad for me, and I'm losing my Tamiyo. But I guess I'll have a pretty solid double 6/7s getting in there. Tamiyo dies, creature goes to the yard. Currently there's none. So I'll be battling, stabilizing a little bit. Wow, this is pretty cool, to be fair. Pretty cool game. I'm going to let this resolve because sink into stupor would be a catastrophe. But it is kind of scary what the opponent's doing here. There's also the non-zero chance. Oh, wow. There's also the non-zero chance that my opponent is missing the fact that Tamiyo -1 is not in place, but, you know, the opponent might be ahead of that. Replay Bobble. All right. So big creatures are big. I probably have to block the automaton here. I can't say I love it. My opponent sees Force of Will again. So having Omniscience in play makes it every like Ponder, Brainstorm, Stock Up, Atraxa, what have you. Ooh, the opponent was unfortunately aware. I was very excited. Yeah. This is brutal stuff. Tamiyo dead. And now, let's see. Barrowgoyf growing, as I talked about. That guy comes back next turn. The opponent cantrips. And I'm losing to this board. Another Omniscience. So I think playing that is good. You'll like attacking with these is kind of a forced move, because otherwise my opponent can just attack me in the air. Trading and chumping. Yeah. I gain a lot, and I get the big creature off the table. Let's replay that card. Let's pass. Now, of course, the opponent can keep going with emissaries, and this is going to be very bad for me. Question is if I'm dead next turn. Probably the turn after. Let's see what this is. So that's an emissary. Let's try and do a little bit of math here. Next turn, I'll go to +6. This turn, I'm taking 12, 15, 14. Now the question is, does that countering this card buy me a turn or not? The opponent can just replay it from the yard, but they could do that anyway. I think I'm dead next turn no matter what, so I should play around my opponent's last 2 cards being Force Blue card, because next turn it's showdown for me. That's all. I mean, sometimes you break on Ponder Stock Up. That's part of the fail rate of the deck. I know some people like to be like, oh, I can't believe you know, had 10 blanks on top of your deck, but, you know, that's just part of Magic. And if you play enough games, you're going to see that, and then sometimes you're going to draw the perfect card when you need it, so. All right, the opponent had nothing going on. And now they're going to attack me for half of my life points, and then, okay, they stay back. Okay, they didn't want to. This makes a lot of sense. That's actually a very heads-up play by the opponent. The opponent keeps back. I guess 3 blockers is excessive here. Oh, well. Well, we're going to see the triple block out of the opponent here. Then I could have more time. We're not going to see the triple block. Paying mana. Who needs to pay mana for spells? Here's Tamiyo. A card that can block if I need to. So how much damage is this? 14. So I'm not dead this turn. I, for some reason, thought I would be. The opponent attacked with less than I thought, but I guess that's fine. So I have 1 more draw. And the opponent needs to stay back with non-drones, because I don't want to get hit by Barrowgoyf. The reason why that is bad is then I'll find Atraxa or Embercool, and that's where the fun really starts. There's even an argument the opponent should stay back with like 1 drone at some point to not die to Embercool. Let's see. 1 card in hand. So if I counter this card, does that do anything for me? Maybe this is a fine card to counter. By a slight bit of time, the opponent has 1 card in hand and they don't have Sink into Stupor mana. Also I have 2 Omniscience, so never mind about that. Okay, so here's Kappa Cannoneer. And it's time. I need, with my top two, let's see, 14 and 7. 14 and 7, that's 21. I need, yeah, I will also get the clue here. If they attack with everything, my Barrowgoyf will connect. Okay, they think better of it. That's annoying. So Tamiyo stays in play, which is good. It's like another look, right? But now things are complicated because I need to beat the drone as well. Uh-huh. We can just get it over with here. Activate the clue and see. Murktide Regent, that is not going to cut it. All right, good games. A little bit of getting run over, a little bit of fail rate here. Let's see if we can come back stronger. Guys, 4 seasons, and I have great plan for 2026. I present you my own tournament series. It's going to consist of 4 Eco Championship qualifiers throughout the year. Here are the details. Here's the entry fee. It's going to be free for all members over on MetaFi. Hundreds of Chester chests, 2 4 seasons main event tickets up for grabs, or you can cash them in for chests if you don't plan on going to the event. And the top 8 of each of these will qualify for the Eco Championship, the end of year finals, which will be a 32-player event. Here are all the details. Of course, going to be free entry if you won your slot. There's going to be 1,000 treasure chests in total. You're going to be winning your own championship playmat with artwork by Adriano Kitani. You'll make it in collaboration with Adriano. Adriano does beautiful art on my channel here. I will pay for 4 high-quality playmats so you can play with your own trophy playmat after winning. And then the top 8 from this tournament will qualify for the following year's championship, which will then be a 40-player tournament. So yeah, I'm very excited for 2026, and I hope to see you over there on MetaFi to take part in this awesome tournament series. Thank you to 4 Seasons for sponsoring this. All right, I'm playing Magic the Gathering against my good buddy Bosch on roll. He's already joking about this being the upstairs battle. Let's see about that. I'll keep this hand. I have turn 2 Show and Tell Omniscience, which is insane. So let's see what Bosch has brought to the table. I'm going to lead on Tamiyo because I want my opponent to deal with that card. Or should the logic be that I want to cast Ponder so that I can dig for Force of Will and try and finish this game? Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, I'm actually going to go with Ponder instead of Tamiyo here. Thoughtseize. So Thoughtseize is a card that next turn I can cycle Lorn Revealed, get Underground Sea, Thoughtseize my opponent. All right. I am now slowing down considerably, but I'm doing it to get protection. All right, so this deck is either an Esper deck or a blue-white deck that is interested in having access to the plains. Let's see. Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. One's a Riddler. Shepherd. Huh. I think this is totally reasonable time to slow down. Now comes the question, should I do it on upkeep? Slow down and Thoughtseize. Guide of Souls. If I cycle here, I only have 1 Thoughtseize, and then I draw a new card. That's probably okay. Double Thoughtseize. It would make it so that I can Thoughtseize this turn and next turn. That's probably too juicy to give up. Okay, let's draw. Let's cycle. Let's Thoughtseize. And let's see how much stuff we need to clear from that hand. I mean, the Force of Will is going to be the clear pick. I'm not scared of any of these other cards. Take that card out of the equation. And then I'm basically going to Show and Tell Omniscience. And Then rely on my brainstorm, I guess, because I know I'm drawing a bad card here. Let's Thoughtseize. The opponent can put Riddler into play. Here's Dog. That card is great. So I can take the Riddler here. I can put 2 Omniscience into play, so I don't care about Sink into Stupor. Show and Tell. Omniscience. And now I should probably play Tamiyo. Yeah, let's play. I have to remember now that I need enough cards to put back, and I need to put a redundant Omniscience into play. The opponent has what? The opponent has 2 Sink into Stupors in hand. If I flip the Tamiyo, that's probably fine. Here's Tamiyo. Here's Brainstorm. Into bricks. That is a rough one. That is a rough one. Pass. So Brian knows that my next 2 cards are bad as well, because I didn't proceed here. So yeah, I think I'm in big trouble. That card is, I mean, it makes creatures, which is very, very good. So now Brian can play I guess lane if he wants to. Then blink out the Pride. Let's see. Brian is trying to shoot that onto the Tamiyo. But I can't let that happen. So, because Tamiyo can get me back Lauren revealed next turn. Daze that card. And then Brian can only attack the... No, wait a minute. Brian is going to blink the Tamiyo. Reset it, right? Yeah, Brian's going to reset the Tamiyo. He knows I'm drawing a brick. I actually can't remember the lands. Probably not a fetch line in there, if I recall correctly. So here's Tamiyo. And there's a bad land. So it's all down to the draw next, I think. It's funny, I can't remember it. I think it was Swamp. All right. Let's pass the turn. I need my Tamiyo to survive. These are both gone. If my Tamiyo survives, I get to dig. Let's see. Draw. Then I get 2 looks, right? I have a brick. Then I have a draw step, and then I'm hoping to get Tamiyo. Yeah, okay. Now I wonder if flipping Tamiyo is useful. I think it is. Here's Quantum Riddler. No, never mind. Here's the other card. So now let's see. Brian can now put 2 counters on something. That means instead of having 1 damage, there's now 3 damage, which is not nothing. I think I should use the clues to flip my Tamiyo, because then at least it's gonna soak damage. Mockingbird. Oh yeah, that's a cool little shell you got there, Brian. So he can force the crack on the clue here. Let's see. No, he wants to tutor up more stuff. That's totally fair. So, oh, never mind. I don't have Tamiyo minus. I think I'm just dead next turn. Let's see, that was first strike. Down to 6. That comes back. Brian can now use that again. So that would be, let's see, +2 counters on something. So that'll be 2 damage, 3 damage, 5 damage. Yeah. Brian has lethal here. Next turn. So flipping Tamiyo is not going to happen. Okay, Ancient Tomb. I forgot about that. But it was a brick card. Let's see. Also pretty cool if Brian has a force. Oh, there's no force. But that, like, getting a blue card here is pretty darn cool. Yeah. That card is not going to do it. I guess flipping this card now is free. Let's see if we can get there on the brainstorm. I see. So put back. Is there any world I'm surviving next turn? I mean, days. Probably not going to do anything. So be like days, tomb, flip the yo. Mill to see 4 new cards with stock up. And we find some more bricks. Okay. Really tough run out here with the show and tell deck. I've been seeing a bunch of cards here. So let's see. Fatal push on something, but I think I should wait, to be honest. Play that. There's a minus thing going on, but I have a block and a push. Let's try this. I will counter Guide. The problem is Guide and Mockingbird are kind of the same thing. What happens if I counter that card, kill that card, let the opponent clone something else? I think that gets me another draw. Let's try it out. Problem. No, they need a lot of mana to copy this card. Okay, well, this is... I guess this is a lot more fun than just, you know, stock up into Atraxa. That's not fun, right? Then the game's over. So this is actually pretty cool. Okay. Let's see what the opponent's working with. I'm trying to find some... Also, Brian knows I'm, you know, I play on, right? If I didn't have anything, I wouldn't play on. So let's just see what Brian does here. If I'm lucky, Brian goes for some Alpha Strike only at the dice here. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So I do have a chance. Failure doing what? Failure trying to remove my blocker. I love it. So I do have a shot here. Let's see what this guy's pumping up. That should be okay. Pumping up itself. Got it. Yes. So now am I... Oh, I'm dead to... Ah, shit. Okay, I'm sorry for swearing. So what was I? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I was dead here. Okay, that's sad. I thought I had one more turn. Bring back something. Look at a million cards. Okay, that was cool. Lots of bricks going on here. I'm gonna sideboard pretty similar here. Again, I like this a lot against creatures. This setup. Which cards don't I like here? And it's probably Dazes. Dazes are not that great, but I do need to show I do need Thought Seizes. Maybe maybe Murktide isn't all that great. I mean, I do have to cut stuff. Let's see. How confident am I that Show and Tell Atraxa by itself is good enough? Probably decently confident. What about Emrakul? That is probably the bad one that I need in my deck. So what if I sideboard like this? Trim one more card. Trim one more card. I like all of these cards a lot. Maybe drawing multiple Thought Seizes is a little rough. I don't know. This sideboard plan is certainly not perfect. Ooh. Nah, that was a beating. That was a beating. I feel like in the spots we've seen today, I probably get the job done something like 8 to 9 out of 10 times. Which is important to understand. So let's say I played, instead of playing 3 matches, I'd be playing 30 matches, right? So then maybe we would see a more, you know, your stock up actually kills the opponent a very high amount of the time. But it hasn't really been the case here, to say the least. We've gotten to good spots where it's like, we're not dead. We clear the counter with Thoughtseize. We cast a Show and Tell. Then, of course, we also played from behind against Affinity, which was not ideal. So turn 1 Tamiyo kind of demands the plow. If my opponent kills it, I'm actually going to force... Oh, Caracas. Very nice. Very nice. Let's see what we can draw here. We draw Brainstorm, which does set up some opportunity. But I want to Thoughtseize my opponent here, because then I can maybe find a good spot for Tamiyo Brainstorm next turn. Let's see what they're working with. They have a lot of dangerous cards, to be honest. Damping Sphere. That is a card I will accept. No. Here comes the question. Yeah, I should just take the dog here. I should just take the dog here. Boom. If the opponent goes Damping Sphere, that's fine. They go Guide, hold up Caracas. That is also fine. Fetch Tundra. Here's Guide. I'm going to accept. So now Ancient Tomb is a good one. Should I be more ambitious here with the Brainstorm? So let's see how the math checks out here. If I go Tamiyo, pass, the opponent activates Caracas, I Brainstorm to flip it. The opponent has a 1-mana creature. Yeah. I think I like that. So maybe do it like this. Play Tamiyo. Do I play this land? Good. Yeah, let's play the land. So if my opponent plays into Brainstorm, that's good for me. If they don't, I'm kind of stalling my opponent here, which is fine. So Tamiyo is now my force fodder. Ancient Tomb is my worst magic card. And I'm drawing Ponder next turn. All right. Pass. So now the trick is that Guide of Souls is now gonna, you know, not do a lot against Tamiyo. That's the logic anyway. Tundra. Damping Sphere. That card is fine. Basically, I need to slow the game down now and win with Barrowgoyfs. That's kind of the move. Onboard Tamiyo is also not a bad shout. So let's do this before we forget. So now I can cast Ponder. Are these cards any good? Tomb is bad. Atraxa is bad. Brainstorm is fine, but loses a lot of value. I'm actually going to shuffle these because I want to get closer to a Barrowgoyf, essentially. I cannot cast it this turn, is worth mentioning. Thoughtseize. That's a lot of damage. I think I'll accept situation here and hold up push. So now Tamiyo is just dominating the guide. I'm not going to kill the guide. I killed the guide. Let's see. What other flash creatures are they working with? The thing is that their flash creature, you know, gets protected by Caracas. So actually, I think I should kill this card end of turn. And if they want to play out the dog now, I will force it. Which will cost me some life, but I think that's okay. Wonder if this is a sink into stupor of sorts. Okay. So that card is an annoying card with Caracas. Let me put it that way. Let me force a will that card, pitching Tamiyo. All right. So guide is down. We are not facing any pressure. Show and tell omniscience. I can now resolve. Show and tell omniscience. Let's Thoughtseize here. See what's going on aside from the damping sphere. Okay, nothing. So plus S. And then next turn I can cast Show and Tell, put in Omniscience, cast Lore and Revealed from the graveyard. Guess that is good enough here. Show and right. The tomb only taps for 1. This will be kind of costly. Is that good? Yeah, I think it's still good. Show and Tell. Artcast Force. Very nice. Very nice. So now I'm just gonna... Am I gonna bring that back? I think I'm just gonna do this. Play land. Threaten the draw a million. Let's see how this card works. Okay, that doesn't work against planeswalkers. So let's try here and see what's going on with Tamiyo. Let's see if there's any cool stifle effect in the opponent's deck. All right. So Bosch is playing out for info here, which is a legal play you can make. Let's cast Thoughtseize. I'll go down a lot on life here. Play Barrowgoyf. And maybe that's all Bosch needs to know here. Let's see if he can find a banger of a card. Worth noting is Force Will is live on Bosch's turn. The Damping Sphere is resetting. This could be cloning my Barrowgoyf. Sink into Stupor. I will counter it. Pitch Tamiyo. All right, we got the job done here against a little bit of a not the most impressive draw out of our opponent, but we had to work for it. So the opponent knowing about Barrowgoyf here is valuable. I'm on the draw now, which means I'm more likely to get run over by, you know, Ocelot Pride openings and stuff like that. Hmm. The opponent's heavy on Caracas, which makes my plan just worse, straight up worse. Not sure I can do better. I think my deck is just a little bit awkward against that because they have the fatty plan somewhat contained. They can punish the ancient tombs. They can even just plow the Barrowgoyfs and commence with business as usual. And the Tamiyo plan is not reliable. Blue-white. We found the kryptonite. I guess I should work on my fail rate with stock up before trying to solve the blue-white matchup. I think that would increase my win rate quite a bit. Also, we saw no wasteland out of the opponent, so maybe I'm just running too many lanes for the job. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's sure is a tough one. It's very tempting to put, you know, Underground Sea, Ancient Tomb with Barrowgoyf stock up show and tell. But you also have to play out the games and get the job done. In theory, I like the deck at the moment because blue-red tempo is down, but blue-black tempo is probably a nightmare to play against. What do we have here? We have a swamp hand that, if that is an island, we keep. But since it's a swamp, we have to mulligan. That's unfortunate. Some cool stuff that this deck has going on is like, all it takes is like, let's say this is an island or a fetch or whatever, ponder into an ancient tomb and, you know, we're cooking our opponent. Okay. I like this hand. Now the question is if I want to activate show and tell draws in my deck or not. I can probably get away with getting a land out of here. So now I'm basically saying the first Tamiyo gets plowed. That's fine. Ooh. My kryptonite. Never mind about everything I just said. So do I want to give my opponent their best 2-drop on turn 2? I will lead on a Thoughtseize, but I don't like it because we might see a similar situation against Affinity where I need to cast his Thoughtseize later in the game. Ooh, is this the opponent protecting a Meddling Mage? Or what's the point about this? I'm interested. They will be playing... So let's guess here. Pause the video. Don't look. What is Bosch going to slam here that he wanted to protect with force? Maybe it was the Damping Sphere. Who knows? Let's cast Ponder here. We're still searching for the same stuff. Maybe I like the land and the push. So we have to pass here. Can't play the Tamiyo. That's how it works. I hope this game comes down to, you know, I get to push some stuff. I get to slam some Barrowgoyfs. Guide of Souls. Yes. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw the push. I think that's okay. And then I'm going to kill the... And then I'm going to kill the guide, I guess. So now, if I need it, I have a 1-mana push and a 2-mana push on my opponent's turn. Here's Quantum Riddler. I should probably just Fatal push this clown while we're at it. There's no reason to give the opponent an energy in the bank. Or life points, I guess. So this Riddler is not getting in there in a while. So I think I have some breathing room this game. Let's see what we can do with that breathing room. Sewers. Barrowgoyf, baby. Not a Barrowgoyf. Barrowgoyf, baby. Okay, let's slam the Barrowgoyf. It will likely get plowed, but, you know, we have to ask this question. We have some dead Tamiyos in hand thanks to the opponent's mana base, which is abysmal. And then, ooh, okay, look at this timing. The opponent needed to Solitude on their turn because they're trying to resolve something semi-expensive here. Oh, no, they're not. Okay. I just thought they wanted to play smart with Damping Sphere. Thought seizing here. Let's see. What will we realistically catch? Naked Force, sink into Stupor. But I don't think it gets better from here. That's kind of the point. So let's try and get rid of my opponent's last card. And okay, so when you put these in your deck, they, you know, they're, you know, your lands are thought seizable. So that worked out nicely. That means no Riddler this turn, unless, okay, here's a Riddler. So that's incredible for the opponent. And I have 4 bricks in hand, which sucks for me. Oh, wait a minute. No, I was about to say I messed up, but I didn't. If I played the Tamiyo, they would have bounced end of turn. Never mind. Play land, pass the turn. So worth noting is that even if I draw Show and Tell, the opponent's Caracas will be annoying. Yeah, the Caracas deck was not my favorite matchup of all time. The opponent now has pleasantly refilled here. Right. Hope I get priority. Okay. So kill that card. See if we can get there. Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it. Look like we'll be swimming with the fishes here. In the hands of good old Bosch and Roll. All right. The opponent got us here. We were not strong enough show and tell gamers, and I think we found a tough pairing for the deck, so I guess don't play against many Caracas if you're running this deck. All right. We are struggling today, but thank you for sticking with me. I'll be keeping the sand and hope for some miracles. It hasn't really come together for me. Every time I've cast Show and Tell, I've just looked like a fool, and then the other games, you know, I couldn't find it. So, not a good show. The opponent's on a mull to 5. If we get a turn, I like our chances, just because we have a Thoughtseize, and if they have any sort of setup stuff, then Thoughtseize can probably buy a lot of turns. The dream is that they play something. Okay, so it's probably some lands deck, I would assume. Still think it's worth casting Thoughtseize. No, maybe this is the Epic Storm. Yeah, this is the Epic Storm. Okay. Well, that deck is super dangerous. I imagine a lovely pairing, but not anything I can use for anything here. So if we take Beseech, the opponent will play Defense Grid. I think that's fine. So now we're saying you need to draw action and mana to kill me. And we know that the coast is clear for us, so we can focus solely on, you know, developing. Then I'm going to eat my words when I ponder into Force Will. Okay, so the opponent's going to prioritize more surveilling over slamming the defense grid. Yes, a classic situation. Now drawing the Force Will. But it's, I still think it's quite a bit better. So let's go. Force. My next card is Brainstorm, so I'm probably not going to fire this fetch land. So they're going to surveil again off of Undercity Sewers, trying to improve the hand. The cool thing is these Ancient Tombs actually help me play the game and holding up Force, which is pretty cool. The opponent mills Dark Ritual. Interesting. So Defense Grid resolves. I'll draw the Brainstorm, cast the Brainstorm, and then hold up 3 mana. I'll get rid of 1 tomb here for sure. Murktide Regent. That is not a bad shout when you're just trying to beat a combo deck. So get rid of a Tomb and a push. Play Ancient Tomb, pass, which enables Force of Will. And then next turn, I can cast Murktide. Pretty cool game. Bench Grid is out of there. The opponent has Opal and 2 unknowns. Those have to be very specific to percent to kill. And now I'm also forcing them to have Veil of Summer, so it's like I'm trying to demand more of my opponent here. Murktide Regent is, frankly, the perfect card for the job. It's even going to be a decent size. All right, put back 2 cards. Let me surveil. Could have used Alluring Revealed in case I didn't have a fetch, which is a pretty cool boon to that card. Let's see what this is. This is Atraxa. Atraxa is not a card I think I need right now. I think basically I need just, you know, bot season Murktide. Draw. Another Atraxa. So let's not fetch here, because this might come in handy later for like ponder, clear some bad cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Play a 6/6 out. Good stats here. Good stats. Now I'm in a good position where if this force gets me through the night, then this ponder needs to find me either another force or a show and tell. So it's like I have a decent amount of hits. Okay. Draw. Brainstorm. Maybe I'm interested in seeing, you know, as many cards as possible here. New force. Perfect. So with that card drawn, I think what I'm going to do is cast Ponder. Let's put back Tamiyo and Lauren Revealed. Lauren Revealed might come in handy in some Omniscient scenario, but probably unlikely. Cast this card, still have 3 mana up. Here's a show and tell, so we can do that next turn. So which card punishes that? The card that punishes that is, funnily enough, the opponent natural drawing Song of Creation. Is that something I should worry about? Song of Creation. That card would probably cook me. Am I off of this plan for that reason? Okay. I think I'm off that plan. Okay. By the way, let's check. Did I play a land drop this turn? Turn, cast Brainstorm, activate fetch. Okay, so I didn't play a land this turn. Let's do that. And then I only have 1 force for this turn, and the next turn I'm holding up double force. So this is the important one. This exact turn is where what it comes down to. If the opponent can veil and kill me, I'm dead. Okay, they can't. So now I'm at 6 mana, and I would consider that earning the check mark, but I mean, I've seen stranger things. Funny draw here with the Omniscience. So now I have the capability to counter a veil and counter, you know, action and kill the opponent. Okay, looks like we found a cool win here. Don't like that the opponent's passing. Give it a go here. Okay, they don't have anything. Well, they mulligan to 5 and they didn't kill us turn 1. Thoughtseize was amazing, and yeah, the 1 of Murktide paying off big time. So that was cool. I'm loving these 5. Fatal Push is very bad. So let's see. is show and tell Atraxa. Yeah, that's good. Now, do I need the Emrakul? That's the question I need to be asking myself. Do I need the Emrakul against this player? Do I need the Emrakul? Well, I'm going to say no. I think the thing is the Storm deck doesn't really have a board. So if I can just Atraxa into, you know, forces and stock ups and more forces and thought seize them, I'll be fine. Maybe I can cut like an Omniscience. I think that's okay as well. That card is frequently my worst card. I don't expect Days to be great, but, you know, I think it's slightly better than Omniscience. Probably, who knows? In this matchup, I wish I had 2 Murktides. That would just be make it a simple game plan. Okay, I can actually sideboard out Swamp. Now, do I want Consign or a third Omniscience? I think I want Consign. The opponent also showed Defense Grid, so yeah, it's certainly Consign. All right. Feels good to get a win there, and especially building a plan with my favorite dragon. That's already in my opener again. Basically keep any hand with a force here, so I guess some of the cards being shown till Omniscience is also pretty cool. Murktide, notably, quite bad with Omniscience. The opponent's on a mull to 3, and they're looking for Blindside Diamond, draw 7. It's always rough when you have to mulligan a lot. And then in that deck, you reach a point where, you know, those 2 cards you need to put together, and then, you know, you're getting cooked by a counter. Okay, they didn't. So in theory, they could have like Veil and are looking to find LED or the draw 7. It's cool to consign counters the LED. Let's fetch a Surveil Land here. Another show and tell is not needed. Let's put that away. Another land, not bad, because then next turn I can go show and tell Omniscience. Again, that loses to the opponent having Song of Creation randomly. Yeah, I don't love to do that. So they would have had to draw that on turn 2 or 3. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. Yeah, let's cast the show and tell. I am ready for show and tell to backfire. Come on, buddy. I think that is a card I can live with. The opponent's trying to give themselves the chance to spike the enchantment. It would be pretty cool to see, I must say. And now, do I play a 3/3 out now or a bigger creature next turn? I think it's pretty clear. Wait. So putting 2 Omniscience into play just, you know, makes any draw in my deck that's remotely powerful, like Ponder Brainstorm, Stock Up, Lorne Revealed, Atraxa. Yeah, those are just very potent. So I'm hugely favored here. Let's see if we can capitalize. Here's the card Thoughtseize. I think I should force and negate that card. I don't think there's a reason to have, you know, the opponent make that choice. I think it's better to just, you know, they save 2 life, of course. All right, that card, that draw is amazing. Well, they could have more Veil here. Let's see. Do you have a second Veil? They don't have second Veil. Well, let's take Dark Ritual. Let's cast Murktide Regent. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then let's keep the land in hand for Brainstorm. I can cast Consign for free off Omniscience. They draw LED, counter it in a heartbeat. So the opponent needs to find like 2 LEDs pretty quick. I think the opponent concedes slightly too fast there. You know, I draw brick, attack for 7, they draw LED, I counter it. I don't draw brick, so I guess... Oh, wow, looks like the stock would have gotten there. Oh, yeah, wow. Look at more cards, draw 3. Maybe this doesn't even win. Okay, there it is. Yeah, this was a mixed bag, but I think it's just very important to understand that sample size is big in Magic, so I got into decent enough spots, like fizzling way too much here. And of course, the deck, you know, is very weak to Caracas. A deck like Affinity can, you know, put you in the dirt. Same with, you know, energy strategies. If you play against tempo strategies, your hand can get shredded. You know, God forbid you ever get him to Torok. So I think this deck is totally fine. And if the metagame becomes a lot more combo-centric, I love playing a combo deck with Thoughtseize in it. So whether that's, you know, Doomsday, Reanimator, what have you. Yeah, just a fun deck that is very viable if you love show and tell strategies. All right, that's going to bring us to the end of the video. As always, thank you to 4 Seasons for sponsoring my adventures here. And I hope to see you guys back soon on the channel. Thanks so much for watching.